Hey, man, thank you guys for watching the content, watching all of the interviews. Make sure you like, subscribe, and also leave a comment, man. Vibing with Veto. Just take 1 second out your day and leave a comment, like, or subscribe. Let's get back to the interview. Okay, we live in the crib, Vibing with Veto. Make sure you like, subscribe, and comment on the YouTube at Vibing with Veto. Also follow us on the Instagram at Vibing with Veto. You already know the slogan. We vibrating higher. And today I got a special guest that I've been trying to get in here for a long time. Thank you for coming.
Yes, I'm happy to be here.
Thank you.
Well. How are you?
I'm doing great. Introduce yourself to the people.
I'm Big Kayla, Big Kayla Inc. on Instagram, owner, founder, Big Energy brand in the Big Energy Room, and I'm so happy to finally be here.
Man, that's dope. That's dope. I got $1 million question for you.
Go ahead.
How big would you dream if you knew you couldn't fail?
The sky would be the limit.
For sure.
I think it eliminates the need to fight with yourself. Me and my pops were just having this conversation in the car. Like, right now, I'm fighting myself. I'm fighting, yeah. You know, when you're on a journey to success and you're unlearning behaviors, you're letting go of previous traumas, and, you know, you kind of reinventing, you know, that generational trauma and just cycles that you're used to coming out of. Like, it's different. Because you letting go while you learning to live at the same time, you know?
Wow.
So I think right now I'm kind of in a season of life where even you bringing it up, like that's the thing. It's like there's a real thing about being fearful of failure when you've never seen success, you know?
Right.
And so everything that I'm imagining about success is literally my imagination. It's things that I've never seen done. It's habits and structure and boundaries that I've never seen enforced. And so, like that's why I say I'm kind of killing my old self while reinventing my new self. I'm becoming something that I've never seen actually come into fruition before. And so it's a different battle. So to answer your question, like, if I knew that there was no possibility of failure, every dream that I've ever had would be manifested.
That's a great answer. I mean, great answer. I ain't gonna even lie. That's a great answer. How do you what do you deem being successful though? Because everybody looks at success in a different way. So how do you view like success?
For me, it's peace of mind. And then breaking down my peace of mind, it comes with different things. Like, I want to make sure that my mother has peace. I want to make sure that my pops has peace. I want to make sure that my siblings have peace. And I understand that peace is defined by different things for different people. So just whatever their definition of being at peace with and not waging war against, you know, their traumas, or like just coming into peace and healing and understanding like their balance for their everyday. Because that's another thing I've been learning too, is like the way that I see the world and even the way that my family sees the world, like we look from different lenses at different points. And so like their definition of peace, like mine might be being able to be in a house in the suburbs and, you know, or living on a beach, you know, in California. Like it's different levels, you know, from my perception. Like I might want to drive a Mercedes Benz where, you know, they might be okay with a Toyota or a Honda. Like that might be their dream car, and that's okay.
Right.
You know, so that's why I say I want everybody to be able to attain their degree of balance and peace and whatever it is that they desire in their heart. And if they so choose to shift or change that later, then that's on them. But I just want them to at least get there, wherever they're trying to go.
Facts. That's dope. I have a slogan that I always say. Yeah. Purpose over popularity. When I say that slogan, how can you put that in your own words?
Popularity is like, it's defined by other people, whereas purpose is from God. You know, that's something that's in you. It's not on you. It's nothing that anybody, you know, God is a feeling. He's an understanding, you know, he's a mindset. He's a way of thinking, a way of being. Like, you just be with God. Like, that's something that can't nobody take from you.
Right.
So I think with popularity, a lot of that is just likes and follows and people paying you homage for something that God gave you already. So the purpose is the big thing.
Facts. So take us back on like the journey. Like what sparked your journey into being like, because you're like a motivational speaker. I'm not gonna even lie. Like I go on your page and I get so much game, and it's just like it's coming from a real place. Yeah. I don't know. Maybe it's because I'm still learning you. Like I go on your page, but it's like I listen to your words and it just sits with me, like, you know what I mean? Like, so take us back on the journey. Like, what sparked the interest to, like, you know, for you to expound on this, like, journey?
To be honest, just wanting something bigger and better for my family, and realizing that a lot of the ways that I had of thinking or the mantras, like, I feel like I've always had it in me since I was a kid. But when I moved away from home, I really allowed it to flourish because I started to find myself. And the more I found myself, the more I realized that I need to find God, and I needed to develop on my spirituality and kind of, like, get into the parts of myself that I had been, peel back the layers and get back into the things that I hadn't really uncovered or healed from or understood or taken the time. So honestly, the reason why I started is because I got still.
Right.
And I had to sit with God for a while and really just understand like who I was right now, current day. Who am I trying to be? The aftermath of that. So being on that journey, I just started to realize like it's funny because my voice was my biggest insecurity.
Really?
Yeah. What? I didn't want to pray out loud. I didn't want to talk. Like I would replay videos of me listening to me say things. Like I've been doing this for years, but I just didn't like to hear myself on camera. And when my grandfather passed in 2019, I had like, I don't know, God just came to me one day and was like, you got to start using it. I didn't know what it was at that time. And that kind of led me to start doing little 30-second clips on Instagram. And that's kind of how I built up the following from there. I was just doing little 30-second clips of just things that I was realizing for myself. A lot of the talks that you see on Instagram are talks that is me and God. These are conversations that I literally have with him about different things that I'm going through. These are things that when I'm sitting still with my thoughts and I'm thinking about and manifesting the things that I want for my life, like these are the things that I say. These are the things I struggle with. And so I kind of started putting it out there. Like, I know I'm not the only one.
Yeah, so I mean, facts.
That's where you get big energy. It's like, look, it's always a bigger thought on every on the other side of every single thing that we're doing. Every time that we feel like we're small, we can always go big, and we have the capacity to do that even when we feel like we are small. And so that's where big energy came from.
You said one thing that like stuck with me. You was like being still with yourself. A lot of people like they kind of fear that. I don't know why. I was one of those people too. Because before like I started going to therapy and stuff like that, being still was just like, man, I'd rather be busy. I need to do something. You know what I mean? It's kind of like, I don't know, having ADHD. Like you have to move around. I always had to be like that my whole life until I kind of crashed and burned a little bit. And I was like, man, damn, like I cut off all my hair. I had locks, long locks. I went through this like kind of mild depression and I started going to therapy, you know what I mean? And then I was like, you know what, like it's okay to like be in my own energy. It's okay to feel what I'm feeling. But a lot of people, they don't like, I guess they're afraid of therapy and they kind of shy away from that. Have you ever been to therapy and like, or like what was your therapy, you know what I mean, on your journey?
My therapy, a lot of times, like that's kind of where the big energy room comes from, is like my conversations with my pops. To be honest,
shout out to Pop.
Like that's where a lot of my positive reinforcement it stems from. It'd be like, when you're in a dark place, you just need a light. So I think that's what therapy is. Therapy isn't always a therapist. Sometimes you just need somebody to remind you of the other side of the thought. Right. Right. And I'm getting emotional because I'm thinking about my therapy recently has been with my brother passing. Right.
I saw you
definitely unexpected. Not something, but it's like it's almost scary to me how I'm approaching it. And this goes back to how I said, like, I'm in between my old self and my new self. When my grandfather passed, like, I couldn't conceptualize who God was to me and how real he was and how big his plan was for me, even in the midst of, like, trials and tribulations, Right. But this time, like, I'm so at peace. And it's like, I have moments like that where it's like, I miss his physical presence. We do. I feel like that's like something that naturally comes with being attached to people in the physical. Like sometimes you're not cognizant of how much you have them in spirit, but I feel closer to my brother now more than ever in his transition spiritually. And it's hard to kind of say that because everybody's waiting on you to be devastated, but it's something about me and my talk with God. Like I'm talking about, I can't even really describe it to you in words outside of me knowing that he's not carrying half of the things he was carrying in the physical, in his spirit. Like, I know that when he laid to rest, all that was put to bed. And I know that when he had to meet his maker, like, he was at peace. I know he was at peace, and it's a different position to be in. And, like, a lot of that comes from my therapy with my pops and just, like, even doing big energy and being in the capacity to be able to motivate and inspire other people, it makes me very cognizant and responsible for my thinking because it's like, I don't believe that God uses me as a vessel to lead people for me to be stuck. Like there's always a light at the end of the tunnel and every thought always has another side and there's always another perspective. And as long as I can continue to encourage myself and other people to do that, I feel like that's how I make my impact in the world. Yo, it's your girl Big Kayla, and thank y'all so much for tuning in to my episode with Vibin with Veto. Listen, y'all, I got on my new Big Energy hoodie. Y'all gotta make sure y'all go and cop y'all a hoodie or some sweatpants or something. But he's gonna gonna drop the link right here in the caption. So thank y'all once again, and y'all have a big day, okay? Keep being big in the world.
Facts. Nah, that's dope. My condolences to you and your family.
I appreciate
with that too as well. Can we spread some good light on your brother, like some of the memories that you had, like with him too as well? Because I want to see you smile too as well.
Listen, for sure. So my brother, number one, he was a jokester. So like he's the epitome of being my little brother. Like anything that I'm doing, I knew he was proud of me, but he's gonna say it in a joke, in the most non-serious way. But that man used to wear Big Energy brand before more than me. I think that is my biggest homage that I could ever pay to my brother, is for me to see my brand through. Because when I went through his belongings, after everything happened, and I went downstairs and I just spent some time in his room, just me, him, and God, and I was just kind of talking through my thoughts, and like I looked in his closet and I'm talking about, he said every drop I ever had. In his drawer, he's got Big Energy drawers, he's got Big Energy socks, and he's got shirts that are still in the packaging. And I'm like, it's stuff that I don't even have,
Wow.
And so when I look at my brother, I realize he saw how big I was without me ever even saying it. And I think it's important for you to have people in your life like that. And so, one side of the thought would be like, dang, I wish I could have told you that. But the other side of the thought is that I know you know. Like, I know you know how big it was. Thanks. And so part of my therapy with my pops has been that, like, death gives you life. And so his passing and transition in the physical form has given so much life and light to a lot of the things I've been allowing to be dormant. If, to be honest, that battle that I told you I'm having between my old self and my new self, he's really kind of propelled me to get closer to my new self, because I know there's so much to be done. There's so much to be finished. And so shout out to his brand too, Zaman Exotics. He's actually in Minnesota, so weed is legal there. So he's in the process of opening up his own smoke shop and things. And so he has his own brand, and he was just an impeccable person, man. Like, real life hustler and great father.
I saw you was posting like the babies and stuff.
He did not play about his kids, and I think as a sister, that is what's done me the most proud. Is like, he did not play about his fatherhood and leaving a legacy, and I'm happy to be able to still be here to be a vessel to help continue that on. So.
Facts. You said one word too, and I kind of want to expound on that, like legacy. Mike Tyson, he said recently that he didn't really care about like the word legacy. He feels like that it's been thrown around, like, vicariously, like people just throw it around. Like, when you think about like what you're doing and stuff, and where, like, the journey and where you're going, like, what type of legacy do you want to leave for, like, the people that's coming up behind you too as well?
I just want to plant seeds. I've realized on my journey that, and even though God will have you plant seeds in people's life, like, you're not always in the capacity in their lifespan and journey for you to actually water them and see them grow. So for me, I just pray that I can plant as many seeds in people's lives as possible, and whatever life path that they take, that they're able to manifest those and eventually come back to Big Energy. I don't care for the homage that comes with people saying that I did it. It don't have to be my name. Like, Big Energy is my legacy. And so I just want, Big Energy is love, so just to spread love and plant seeds in people's lives that give them light and hope and help them continue on to fight another day. So.
Facts. You often talk about breaking through barriers. What's the toughest barrier you faced thus far, and how did you overcome it, besides what we just talked about?
Yeah, no, for sure. Myself, and accepting myself as being a good mother. I think that's something that I struggled with for a very long time, and I didn't realize, it was like one of those things where you don't know how good you are at it until you see yourself in the way that everyone else sees you. And so if I was to say that would be the battle, is seeing myself the way that other people see me, accepting myself, expressing myself, honoring myself, loving myself in the same way that other people. I'm very much a servant, and so I am very subservient to the needs of other people at any given time. I don't have no problem making other people happy, but my greatest battle has been learning to be content with making myself happy and being okay, and not feeling selfish, and not feeling like I have to allow my own personal desires to lie dormant. And so I would say it's not something that I've completely conquered. I'm learning to love myself in every season, but it's definitely something that I've become aware of, and I think that is where I'm conquering the battle, is in my awareness, and just being able to realize, like, when I have to give myself more. Like, even when all this stuff happened with my brother, like, I made sure I went and did my self-care. I made sure that I went and, got my nails done or spent some time at, just going to go get my favorite food or, just sitting back, going to go get my hair done, anything, and I didn't feel guilty about that because I knew it was what I needed. So I think that's the roadmap that I'm on now with kind of like developing as an individual in business, as a mom, everything, just really understanding like it's okay to prioritize myself and see myself as being valuable.
Facts. Talking to you is kind of like I'm looking at a mirror because it's like what you're saying right now. I do the same thing. Like I have like a big problem, and I don't really talk about it often, but I always do a lot for everybody else, and I barely like do anything for myself. Like for example, like designer stuff. Like I like nice things, right? But I hardly buy this stuff for myself. And like my girl, she buys like a shit ton of designer for me and stuff like that. But I'll have like the money to do it. Yeah. But I always feel like, man, I probably got other things to do with this. You know what I'm saying? So like I need to also work on that too as well.
And sometimes too, like our designer might not be the clothes. Like our designer might be the experience. It might be the trips we take. And sometimes like we live through other people and we can find satisfaction in it. That's a gift. Like don't look at that as a bad thing, because that's another thing I learned too. Like a lot of the things that I manifest in the world, I see through other people. They're the vessels. Like I might sow seeds over here, whether it be words of encouragement monetarily, whether it be opportunities or resources. Like when you are one of them ones, man, I'm telling you, you're not the one who does the footwork.
Facts.
You're not the one who does the footwork. If you think about the biggest man in the mafia, he ain't taking all the hits. He's just calling the shots. So know that when you one of them ones, like 9 times out of 10, the things that you do for other people are going to be how you manifest into the world. It's not always going to be you. But as far as your self-care and all that, do that for sure. If you want to,
sometimes it's hard though. Like sometimes it's hard because I always feel like, man, I gotta work. I gotta do this. Yeah. And I don't know. I haven't gotten to that point yet. You know what I mean? So will. Like, you
will. Look at it like this. And this is something that kind of like even with my therapy, with my pops conversations, man, it'd be like, if you're no good to yourself, who are you to other people? If your battery is on, you think about it like a phone. If your phone goes dead and you don't have no charger, what is the phone worth to you? It's not worth nothing.
Right.
So you got to make sure you keep your battery charged, and you should never ever prioritize, like overextending yourself over maintaining yourself, because if you don't maintain yourself, there's nothing to overextend.
Dope.
So in due time though, it comes into what I've learned, and this is the word my pops gave me when he came down here, like structure. You just have to have structure. You have to align yourself and make time, you know what I mean? If you're over budgeting everything else you have to do and not prioritizing yourself, it's just go back to your structure. See where you can implement those, time periods, even if it's a half an hour block of time, man. Spend it on yourself and don't feel guilty because you've earned it. And when you look at yourself like that, when you talk to yourself like that, you begin to make that a part of your structure.
Thanks. Have you ever on your journey, have you ever felt like burnt out? Like, you know what I'm saying? From like so much work and work.
What?
It's like even right now, like it's like, man, I'm like I have 2 more weeks before I just take my 2-week hiatus and go into like season 4, I guess. And right now I'm like I got so much to do, you know what I mean? But I've accomplished so much. So how do you kind of combat with that? Like, you know what I'm saying, when you feel burnt out? Like what are some of the things that you do that you can kind of just relax and let your hair down?
I talk to my pops. I talk to my little sister.
Pops, man. He the truth, man.
I talk to my little sister, man. And I kind of first start there. Because what I've learned about, just even in therapy, because like I said, therapy isn't always a therapist. Like I got a lot of therapy in my family for real. Because they know me and they know my heart. So I just vocalize it to them. And then I let them give me perspective. And then when they give me perspective, I sit still. That's the first thing, because you can't fix a whole bunch that's going on by movement. It's just adding more movement to the situation. So I get still and I just listen to different things. Sometimes I listen to my sermons. Sometimes I'll just sit and observe my kids interacting with each other and just allow myself the time for me to process my thoughts. And then from there, I kind of not always write it down. But sometimes it's just like I might come back to Pops and be like, look, okay, I done took some time to marinate on this. Like, this is what I think that I'm doing right now.
Thanks.
This is where my awareness is at. And he might add a little couple touches, or he might just affirm and validate, what I have going on. And then from there, I start into my implementation. So if it's that I'm burnt out because I'm doing too much of something that I don't have no business doing, then I'm going to start taking the steps, because nothing's overnight. That's another thing. You can't fix something that you've been doing a lifetime in 24 hours. It just doesn't work like that. But the first step, like I told you before, is your awareness. So I become aware of things that I'm doing. I might walk myself through doing the same thing that I'm now becoming aware of for a week. And then eventually I start implementing little changes. And eventually that leads up to where I can catch up to my burnout. Because as long as it took for me to get burnt out, I try to allow myself that much time now. Sometimes I can be very impatient with myself, and I feel like I'm Superwoman. I'm supposed to have all the answers to everything. So that's something, too, I'm learning to put that to rest in my mind and not overwhelm myself with thinking that I just have to have all of the answers, because honestly, you learn more in questions than answers. So the stillness kind of helps me figure out, like, where do I start? You know, my pop said that to me one time, man. I was having a burnout session. I was feeling overwhelmed. I'm like, man, I want to do the podcast. I want to do the clothing line. It's getting ready to drop. Like, I have so many things going on. And he's like, you know what it is? I figured out. Like, you just don't know where to start. And I'm like, dang, that's a really real thing. Like, sometimes when you even get into burnout, it's because you have so many things on your plate, but you just don't know which one to attack first. That's where the structure comes in. That's where the balance comes in. So I say it's that self-preservation is so important, because a lot of times it helps you keep your right mind. If you keep your right mind, you can conquer anything.
Right. If you could tell your younger self anything, what would it be and why?
Never give up. Keep going. Everything that you're aspiring to do, you're going to do it, and you're going to do it well, and it's going to come to you at some point. And I think more than anything, like, keep God first.
Facts.
Whenever you sitting in that corner, man, and you feeling like all hope is lost, man, just keep God first. Keep praying, keep talking, because he's listening even when you don't feel like it.
What's the most transformative feedback you've ever received from someone? I know you're gonna probably say Pops too as well, but who, like, you already said who inspired you to talk, so I'm not gonna even ask that part. So what was the most transformative feedback you've ever received from someone?
I needed to listen more. I think that, and I didn't realize I was doing it, but I had developed like this defense. Like, I've always been a good listener, don't get me wrong, but I've learned so much more about myself here recently by just pausing with my response more. I'm such a good talker that people expect words. And so I kind of like developed this need to like have the words. And so I'm focused on getting the words more than I'm actually understanding the problem. I'm a very solutions oriented person. And so what I learned when I started to listen more is that I come up with a better solution, a more effective solution when I actually listen to every detail, versus it being like I'm listening to respond. And so I think that feedback really helped me to kind of be more of a thorough communicator. And I think it's been a great preparatory thing for me to do the podcast and be in conversation with people and just kind of like listen. Because, a lot of times, like, when you respond to things people don't expect you to respond to, you get a different response out of them and you see a different side. You get a different perspective. And sometimes, like, you do undo therapy. Like, even us talking right now, there's things that you have on your heart as much as you being an interviewer that you need to get off your chest. But by me saying and listening and saying certain things, I can resonate with the mirror in us. And so now you can reflect, too. So it becomes a bigger thing. That's why I love doing what we do. Yeah, facts. Because you learn so much about different people. So listening more is definitely, it's been a very imperative thing for the journey that I'm on right now, for sure.
Facts. Do you look at like podcasting like as therapy too as well? Because I do. Me talking to people, I feel like, and I never thought I'd be doing this. Yeah. You know what I mean? Because it's like just having regular conversations with your friends. Man. But it helps so much because I learn, and then on top of that, I can see myself and other people too as well. So
it helps you get perspective. You know what I mean? So like sometimes we might be going through the same thing, and then you offer a perspective I haven't even had the experience to get on that side of, but your experience and your life path has led you to give me a different perspective, and now I can find a different solution to my problem that may be more effective than even where I was going. Or I might have been stuck and not had a solution, and now you just gave me one. So I think that's why I love doing this, though, is because it's like you said, it's like you get so much gainful perspective from different people from all different type of walks of life. And it's also the therapy part of it for me is you realize everybody's kind of going through the same thing.
Right. in some way.
Man,
Right,
in some
like,
way, shape, or
yeah,
form.
facts.
It might be different levels to it,
Right.
but a lot of the time, like, the basis of what we're all going through is the same. And when you realize that, you find a sort of love and a reciprocity and humanity. Like, dang, we all kind of like, we the same.
Facts.
You know, on the same level. Like,
Facts.
you know,
Facts.
I feel like you're doing 10 times better than me, but in reality, you're just dealing with the same thing. I'm dealing with it on a different level. So instead of me feeling like I have to get into the art of comparison, that's where that popularity thing comes in. People start
Absolutely.
comparing because they're looking at what's popular, but they're not actually looking at what's purposed. You know what I mean? And so, I don't know, I think it helped me connect more to my purpose by listening to people and having these conversations and kind of having a better understanding instead of, you know, operating out of judgment.
Facts. I hear an accent though, but I don't hear an Atlanta accent. Where exactly are you from?
Listen, we're from Wisconsin.
Okay,
I lived
okay.
in Minnesota. I moved to New York, then I came down here. So my accent be kind of like a little all over the place. Nobody
Facts.
can ever really pinpoint.
Yeah, I
it.
was trying to figure it out. Like, I'm listening to you. I'm like, I don't know. Where are you from?
Really depends on the word.
I would have said like Cali or something like that.
Hey, look, you might be manifesting it because I've been told I'm going to end up on the West Coast.
Yeah, facts. I was born in New Orleans and then I moved to New Jersey and then I moved here. So my accent is kind of the same too. It's like you just never know.
I was just going to say, like, you got the down south and you
Yeah.
got the East Coast. So preference wise, like, where you love Atlanta the best?
I love Atlanta. I mean, I've been here the longest. I've been here since I was 11 years old.
Okay.
So it's like, I mean,
11.
Atlanta is home, but it's like, it's nothing like New Orleans, man.
Yeah.
From the food to my family, it's just, I don't know, it's just nothing like that city to
So
me.
how do you operate in expanding your gift and being away from your family? How is that for you?
What like when you say that, what like?
When I say expanding your gift, because I feel like you have a gift, and I don't know if it's just strictly tailored to podcasting. You just might have a gift for people, so that's why I kind of generalized it. But while you're finding your way and you expanding, you know, your brand and you're becoming, you know, as big as you want to become, like how is that being away from your family?
To be honest, I've been away from them for so long. You know, I was 3 years old when I moved.
Yeah.
You know what I mean, from Louisiana. So it was like my godbrothers, my aunties, my uncles, everybody's back home.
Yeah.
So it's like I had to find out who I was because I wasn't around them. You know, you can kind of, again, be around your family and you can kind of get so much from them and become, you know, what you learn. You know what I mean? So by me not being around them and only being around them during like holidays and stuff like that, I just developed my own personality and stuff like that. But I also have an older brother and older sister too as well. I'm the youngest. But man, I wasn't around my brothers and sisters like that either.
Yeah.
They older than me.
They older, right?
So I just, to answer your question, I feel like through just meeting people and developing my own friends and my own groups and stuff
Kinda
like that.
made your own family.
I kind of made my own family too as well.
Yeah.
What about you?
I would say that that's something that I'm kind of learning too. I'm just having this conversation yesterday too. Like, I realized I'm the one, like, when I was growing up, we were kind of moving around. So I never really made where we're from home.
Right.
I kind of made my home when I moved here. And this was my home. So, like, my family has my heart, but that's not really where my home is to me. Versus, because I'm the oldest.
Okay.
Like, my younger brothers and sisters, they really grew up there. They went to school there. They were stationary in Minnesota. And so, you know, their experience is different. So, for me, I'm kind of where you're at. I've been doing it for so long, being away, like, I've learned to find the balance. However, like, times like where my brother passed and things, and I'm looking at pictures and things, I'm like, dang, you know, I wish I would, you know, it's a natural thought. I wish I would have went back more. I would have been here for this, because they're all there on the day-to-day versus where I'm gone. But I realized, like, when you're the one who's kind of like paving the way, when you're the way maker, like, there's certain, you can't be everywhere all at once.
Facts.
You can't.
Do you feel, and not to cut you off, do you feel like being, because you said the one that you're paving the way, the pave maker, do you feel like immense like heaviness on you sometimes, like because you're trying to be the one that can change the dynamic for everybody in your family and your friend group? It
does, because I am such an empath, and so by nature, I'm always like considering everyone else. You your feelings, your aspirations, your goals, and I'm thinking and considering, how do I get you there? What I've learned is that to eliminate the pressure, I have to have balance and understand that I'm no good to nobody if I'm no good to myself. And so that's where another part of me kind of like killing my old self, where I overindulge in what everybody else needs and forget about myself. And then the reality is that when you are the way maker, you're the one who's making a way. So if you stop making a way, the way is not made. And so for me, I had to learn, I have to prioritize me making the way, so that there's something for them to follow. There's something for them to step into. Because if I don't do that, then we all stuck. And so to answer your question, that is immense pressure.
Thanks.
How I balance the pressure is by finding balance in understanding my mission and understanding my goal. And so although, you know, like I said, it's not by nature. You're going to have thoughts. You miss your family. You want to be around more and things. I've even learned to start vocalizing it to them. So I tell them, like, look, this is what I'm doing. This is where I got to go. This is the mission. This is the big picture.
Thanks.
But I don't say those things with the expectation of understanding, if that makes any sense.
That makes a lot
I'm
of
just
sense.
going to keep planting the seed. And eventually, you guys will see the big picture once the mission is complete. You know?
Facts. Sometimes, like, when I'm, like, thinking big, right?
Yeah.
I can feel crazy because some of the thoughts that I have, it's like, bro, I have some really big thoughts in my head and things that I know I'm gonna accomplish. Sometimes I don't know how, but I just know I'm gonna accomplish. So, like, do you feel like that too as well sometimes?
sure.
Like, you know what I mean?
For sure. Like,
Because we do this. I mean, cut you off. We do this, and sometimes you can feel like alone because it's like, damn, I know that this idea. If I tell somebody this idea, they're gonna be like, bro, like, how you gonna
that
do that?
word alone, my pop say, is all one. You just all one with yourself when you're having those thoughts. And a lot of times, all one with yourself means all one with your higher power, your God, your higher spirit. And so when you manifest in that, that's, for me, it's a window and an opportunity for you to experience how big it can get. That's how big you are. That's how big, even the fact that your mind has the capacity to think that big, it's not normal. And so for me to you, keep thinking big. Keep being big. You're
Big
not
energy.
alone in that. Come on now, big
Facts,
energy.
facts,
You're not
facts.
alone. You're not alone in it.
Facts.
And everybody is not meant to think the thoughts that you have. They're not meant to have the vision that you have. Like, that's where you get isolated with God. That's why when you're all one like that, that's you and God. He's showing you your capacity and how big you can get and how big that you are. And a lot of times it's not meant for you to share with everybody.
Facts.
You know? And I think that sometimes we get distracted by being lonely. I'm telling you, my pops broke it down to me. I'm like, dang, there is a difference between feeling lonely and actually being alone. And the aloneness is the all one. Like, I'm just all one with myself. I'm content here. I'm cool with being still with God. I'm cool with, you know, not having my significant other or just being with my kids right now. I'm cool. But you know what the coolness is? It's really patience. And when you're patient, you build endurance because you learn to stand the test of time and you properly equip your mind, your body, your spirit to be able to walk the walk. And then, you know, you start making your movements, you talk the talk, and then everything comes into fruition and it's your reality.
Facts. You want to know something crazy? Like, have you ever heard the saying, like, man, you can, like, talk to somebody and be like, man, this person been here before. do you get that a lot? Like, cause you wise as hell. Like it's just like, and also I want to also give you this. Like, have you ever thought about doing like audiobooks with just like your voice?
Talk
like,
to me. Look at God, like, using you.
I'll literally ride in my car and listen to you give me game like all day. Like you know what I'm saying?
I appreciate that because that's what I needed to hear. That's kind of like what when I say that I'm like killing my old self, I'm getting to my new self. Like, I'm learning that even you, like, walking in here and seeing your setup and saying that you're just doing it, it's so validating to me. It's so validating because it's like, when you think big, sometimes you overindulge in how big it's going to get instead of walking the walk. So that's why I say this, everything is balanced. Like, you can have those thoughts, you can have those dreams, but understand there's a process. So for me, like, even saying you today, I'm like, man, it doesn't take that much. I don't need to go have like a professional studio and a professional camera and a whole bunch of people behind it. Like, it's cool if it just starts with me, just me, because when I was just being, it was just being God, you know? So I think that, yes, I have gotten a lot of people who have told me that I have been here before, and I think that's my gift. I think I've seen a lot more than I can remember, and it comes out in conversation, and that's why I love doing what I do. That's why I love talking to people like you, and it'd be like, man, I love seeing me and other people, and not for the purpose of literally seeing my reflection, but being able, it helps me. It's like a superpower of being able to resonate with everybody. Because when you see yourself and other people, you know you're less likely for you to bear judgment or for you to because you just see the humanity in them. Like, you know, dang, I feel like that sometimes too, you know, and so there's nothing bad about that. And I think people feel that when they talk to me, like, we on the same level. It ain't nobody bigger, but we can go bigger, you know?
Facts. Man, I had a long list of questions, but the conversation so goddamn good. I was like, bro, I'm not even about to read. I'm not even about to read this shit. Like,
hey, you want me to tell you something how God works? While we in the car, my pops literally asked me that. He was like, did she give you a list of questions? I'm like, man, you don't want to be honest? No, I said I was just like going into the conversation and just having
like
a good
conversation.
Man, what? Because you never know what. I feel like you go where you're supposed to that way. You always got to have some type of structure. Don't get me wrong. You got the camera, you got the people, you know, you have an idea of where you want it to start, but I don't think we're responsible for how it actually finishes. I think we just get, like, it's the same thing with God. Like, he kind of gives you a vision, but it's never pinpointed exactly how you're going to get there. So I definitely love the conversation. Sure.
Man, thank you for coming to vibe with me, man.
I appreciate you.
Real shit. But before we leave, I got one last question.
Go ahead, come
on. With the weight of the world on your shoulders, success at the palm of your hands, how do you respond when adversity knocks at your door?
Think bigger. You get on the other side of that thought. I know that it doesn't stop with my emotions. And so I'm a woman. So I'm 100% emotional. But I've really, really learned that, like, it's not happening to me. It's happening for me. Once again, shout out to my therapist for that.
Thanks.
But learning and understanding that and really, like, living in that, man, it brings you so much peace. Because, like, when you feel like something's happening to you, you feel like you're constantly under attack. I'm not under attack. I'm just being reinvented every step of the way. Everything that I'm going through, that I'm experiencing, whether it's good or whether it's bad, it's all fundamental to the bigger picture.
Man, that's dope. Man, thank you for coming, man. Real shit. I'm probably going to listen to this shit, like, man, a whole lot before I release it, just to get the game. Like, I really enjoyed this conversation.
Me too, seriously. Whenever you need me, you know I'm more than happy to come back.
I'm going to hit you now.
For sure.
All right, cool. Tell the people where they can find you.
Man, Big Kayla Inc. on IG, TikTok, all that jazz. And y'all make sure y'all check out the new Big Energy brand drop. Yes, you know, coming up with that fire. I appreciate y'all for tapping in.
Facts. Hey, man, it's been another episode Vibing with Veto. You already know the slogan. We vibrating higher, and we gone.